Whew, I got chills. They multiplying. Okay, stop me now. Beautiful, Margot. Thank you. Oh, wow. Just our hearts, I don't know, I can't claim for all of us, but my heart, and I hope yours has just been busted wide open. So today we are wrapping up this month series, From Good to Great to Grand. So grand rising, everyone. We kicked off the month by talking about the importance of exploring our inner landscape, that journey towards self-actualization, being who we are here to be and living life to the fullest. And then we looked at what we truly value and how we can begin to live those values in new and powerful ways. Now that we're starting to have more clarity around our authentic self and how we choose to show up in this world, the invitation is to begin to create spaces and opportunities for others to do the same, activating, bringing to life this vision of a world that works for all. But in order to do so, we can't just talk about it. We have to be about it. So Dr. Ernest Holmes is the founder of the Science of Mind philosophy that is our primary teaching here. And he writes, what the world needs is spiritual conviction, followed by spiritual experience. I would rather see a student of this science prove its principle than to have them repeat all the words of wisdom that have ever been uttered. It is far easier to teach the truth than it is to practice it. I was about to say, can I get an amen? I didn't even, right? Woo, y'all, like it is a daily practice. So in other words, we're not here just to talk about it, but to be about it, right? So there's a story of a parent, and maybe if you are a parent, this story will be familiar. And the parent walks by their child's room and notices the clothes all over the floor and the books everywhere and takes the deep breath as they notice that the room has still not been cleaned. So this parent goes to the child who is engaged in their video game and gets their attention and says, I asked you to clean your room 3 days ago, and I notice it's still a mess. Well, the child responds, but I memorized what you said. What do you mean you memorized what I said? Well, the child responds, to quote you, you said, clean your room. I even learned how to say it in Greek, Hebrew, and Spanish. I read a book about it, Marie Kondo's The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up. It was a New York Times bestseller. And it really helped me to understand what you were saying about the need to clean my room. That book was life-changing for me. The child goes on. I met with some of my friends, and we talked about it. We talked about the importance of having a clean room and what it's like to have a clean room and how you should have a clean room. I even had my friend Olivia over, and we made a vision board. I have to admit, I was a little skeptical at first about this idea, but then laying out all the pictures and seeing the organization and how my room could look, I can really begin to see the benefits now. I've also started a journaling practice, and it's helped me set some positive intentions for having a cleaner room. It gave me a lot of clarity on how some toxic people around me are holding me back from having the clean room I deserve. And I did what you said. I took a lot of time. I even prayed about having a clean room. And you know what? The past few days, I have felt so close to Spirit. And I just have this profound sense that the divine within me is calling me to be a tidier person. Not really sure how to respond. The parent kind of says, okay, well, I guess keep up the good work. Anyone relate? Yeah. Spiritual practice without actually taking action and seeing it reflected in our lives is merely a good idea. It's just a whole lot of talk. And sure, we can allow our spiritual practice to inform us and guide us, but it's time to notice when perhaps we are leaning into the comfort of our spiritual practice instead of pushing ourselves into the action it takes to actually embody that which we desire. We can use even spiritual practices as a crutch to stay safe, to stay comfortable, because it feels good, right? Just to commune with the divine and to do all the things. But if we're not actually taking action, inspired action based on what we're learning, we're still living in a cluttered world. Merely knowing the ideas and the concepts of the science of mind teaching and various spiritual teachings and practices isn't enough to create the shift that we desire. True understanding and growth comes from embodying and living the principles of oneness, of love, even when it's hard or scary. So are you going to stay that bud, that bullet? I didn't know it was called that. Or are you willing to turn within and do the work and know that it's safe to bloom, to let your light shine and to be a living demonstration of that which you value and believe? It takes a willingness, even when it's scary and hard, to be vulnerable, right? That precious bud, it takes a vulnerability to open, to be seen, and a willingness to stay committed to actually do our spiritual practice and our inner work on the daily, y'all. It's not a one and done. It's not even you get this and you're complete. No. This is just letting everyone know that I am committed to walking this walk every day, not that I have achieved some kind of pinnacle. And please don't put me on a pedestal because I might fall. As evidence of trying to step on the stage earlier. Okay. So embodying these principles from a space of authenticity allows us to create the space, an lived demonstration of what we believe, and that encourages others. It lets them know that it's possible, right? Through example, through an application and practical examination of our inner world, but then moving it into our actual lives. We have to pick up our things and get our own house in order so that our lives can demonstrate that which we value. And this then allows ourselves and inspires others to blossom into their fullest potential and unique expression, co-creating a world of possibility for all. So our actions become the catalyst for change. And that catalyst for change, as we get clear on what we value, we can look to what is ours to do to help the shift on a more collective level, dismantling the societal barriers and empowering others to unapologetically pursue their passions and aspirations through acts of encouragement, support, and celebration. And that is something that I see demonstrated by so many of you, right? We come together to celebrate each other's accomplishment, right? There is no competition or not enoughness or judgment in this community. We come together because we know that we are all an expression of the divine, and we want each other to thrive and to shine so that we can create the collective shift, empowering others to work towards a vision of a world that works for all, and creating the spaces to know and let people know that they are safe to be who they are. So how is Ahava as a community doing that? Well, yesterday was a great example. Yesterday was Diverse City, the festival downtown, and it was just such a good vibe. And we were there with our Love is the Answer wings and passing out affirmation cards. Bernadette was there doing balloon animals and face paintings. We had affirmation coloring pages for the young ones. And, you know, we can take some of these things for granted, I think, or we can think that this means doing some big major thing. But it's in those moment-by-moment interactions, those that I saw yesterday, and thank you to all the volunteers that came out, giving someone that affirmation card and watching them read it and then light up. That's it. Like, that's the moment, right? We created a safe space to allow someone to know the truth of who they are. So passing out our affirmation cards, being visible in the city as a presence of love, that's just one way. We have our food pantry. We create a safe space for the LGBT community to explore spiritual community. We honor our planet and Mother Earth by planting a native garden, and the hard work of mostly Colleen to root out those invasive species, and then with the whole gardening team coming together to plant those native species that will call in the bees and the butterflies, right? Our licensed spiritual practitioners, they are here to know the truth and the wholeness of each and every one of you in this community through prayer. And there's been a number of folks in our community that are going through some stuff, some physical healing and lots of shifts in emotional healing as well. And you may not all see it on a Sunday, but our practitioners are creating that space for our community. Our classes. We just completed the most recent class, The Art and Science of Spiritual Mind Treatment, and it was a powerful class. If you were in that class and you are here today, will you just stand? Yes, and back there, yes, as well. So let's give it up for these folks for doing their work. Yes. The demonstrations that occurred in that class, right? We have people that are moving, that are finding and discovering themselves in a new way, shifts in relationships and work environments, in abundance, in opportunities, in flow. We're doing the work, y'all. And last week, the workshop, a group of us came together and we did the work to really say, what are our core values? What do we love? Getting in touch with those things that maybe we've forgotten that we loved as a child, and then bringing it all together into what the book called, the book of our month is the Light Maker's Manifesto. And the author calls it our spark statement, creating a vision statement. So now we have this vision statement, personal vision statement to make choices from and live our life from as a guide. We're doing the work. And when we do the work, things start to shift. And it can get a little uncomfortable and challenging. And that's when we can turn to each other, this beloved community, our spiritual practitioners, to stay the course, right? It's so easy to give up, to quit when all the mess starts to come up as we embark on this spiritual transformational journey. And yet, if we stay the course, the demonstration will occur and will be reflected in our lives. So the next point is to consider who you are when no one is looking. Are you showing the world one side, the Instagram, TikTok filtered version of your life, but yet hiding your mess in the closet? So it is during these moments that when we were by ourselves, with ourselves, first of all, we actually have to commit to carve out in today's world. It's a commitment to carve out time just to be with ourselves, yes? With all the constant distractions and these things in our pocket that we can turn to like that when we don't want to have to do our inner work or feel our feelings, right? So first, it's making the commitment to actually be willing to sit with ourselves. And then it is in those moments with ourselves that we have the opportunity to cultivate, to commune with the authentic, divine nature of who we truly are. Aligning then our thoughts and our beliefs and our actions with an awareness that we make a difference. Our thoughts, even when we are alone, and we may think no one, we can participate in self-sabotaging patterns and habits and actions in the shadows and the darkness of our own rooms, and no one will know or care. That's not true, y'all, because we are one. And we are at all times creating a ripple effect of vibration of our energy. So this month is calling us to move from good to great to grand, and that grand rising to truly live authentically, in integrity, letting go of the need for external validation, but listening to your own inner guidance. And then acting from this deep understanding and embodying integrity through mindfulness and infusing action with a sense of purpose and contribution. In these private moments, we can tap into that wellspring of inner wisdom and realize that who we are when no one is watching defines the authenticity and transformative potential that we bring to the world, right? So let me explain that again. It's kind of like our own personal glass ceiling, if you were to say. So who we are when no one is watching defines our limit, our glass ceiling of transformational potential that we can actually bring to the world. So we can only go so far in making a difference as we are willing to first embody that desired condition in our own lives. And transformation occurs through our own spiritual conviction. One of the things I love about Dr. Ernest Holmes' writings and teaching, he was so clear and convicted. So if you're feeling a little off-centered, pick up one of his books. We have some in the Lindy Library for you today. We have this thing called You in the bookstore, one of my favorites. We got used copies for like $5. So take it home with you and read that. And the way he writes, it's just truth after truth after truth. And use that as a way to align your thoughts and energies and beliefs. And then don't just sit there and feel good about it. Actually take some action, right? To set that vision for what you desire for yourself and the world, and then hold fast to it with deep conviction, knowing it is possible. Tapping into that deep well within of infinite potential. So I invite you to ask yourself, who am I when no one is looking? How do I speak and think about myself and others when they're not present? These are some ways that we can get back into conscious alignment and integrity with our internal and external landscapes, to not only shape our lives, but also get in co-creation as the architects of our collective reality. Audre Lorde says, when I dare to be powerful, to use my strength in service of my vision, then it becomes less and less important whether I am afraid. Being of service to something greater. When we feel stuck in our own lives, stepping out of our own way and being in service to something bigger can often be the exact catalyst we need or the exact playing field we need for our own personal evolution as well. We have people in this room that are doing this, y'all. We have folks running for public office. We have folks leading organizations, starting nonprofits, creating art and bringing beauty through performance and life, engaging in community service. These actions allow us to step out of ourselves for something greater, and at the same time, provide the opportunity to do our own healing and transformative work along the way. So it is through our conscious actions, both seen and unseen, that we can create transformative opportunities for self-actualization within ourselves and on behalf of the collective. Being called to actively practice empathy, compassion, mindfulness, and acceptance, passionately engaging in dismantling the systemic barriers and limitation of our society, and then allowing our own authenticity and integrity to guide us in cultivating an environment and space for others to feel seen, heard, and celebrated. That's what we are about here. And that's what I know you are about, because you found yourself in this room or hearing this message today. So therefore, there is an energetic alignment, a calling that is occurring simply by tuning in to this vibration of Ahava, of love. So this week, I invite you to contemplate what actions you can take to actualize your values in service to a grand vision, knowing that together we can create a world that works for all, where all feel safe to unapologetically be themselves, pulled by that grand vision, not only for our lives, but in service to the collective, contributing to more vibrant, compassionate, and harmonious life. Always with love as our guide, yes? Are you here for it? Yes. All right. Well, let's pray about it then. Take a deep breath. So grateful to recognize the one life that is love, that is power, that is pure potentiality. This one life, this energy, this presence that is all things, that is the very essence and nature of life itself. I know that since there is only one, this is who I am. And as this is true for me, this must be true for each and every person hearing the sound of my voice, for we are one. So I speak this word now knowing that power, freedom, love, possibility exists right here, right now, in, as, and through me. That it is with ease that I articulate my vision, that I know my values and stay mindful to live a life of integrity, authentically expressing myself to the fullest on behalf of this grand vision of a world that works for all. I'm so grateful to know this truth, so grateful to know that this word is done and complete. As I release it into the action of the law that always says, yes, my beloved, it is done and it is so. And together we say, and so it is. That's right.